Hey, welcome back. Get ready to invest in the future with 5 AI stocks that will dominate in 2023. So first up, we have Tesla. I don't think it's any surprise. Anyone can see my symbol back here for Tesla. Tesla's number one on my AI stock picks for 2023. There's a couple reasons why. Number one, the AI and robotics play that Tesla has, not only from a neural net perspective and a machine learning perspective in their cars with FSD, full self-driving, but the Dojo system, which for those of you who don't know, the Dojo system is just a firmware, a silicon hardware interface that they're using to put APIs on top of in order to train their neural networks. And then as well as the infrastructure they have, whether it's superchargers, battery tech, gigafactory, Tesla's really firing on all cylinders. And as FSD becomes closer and closer to full autonomy, Tesla's stock price will continue to skyrocket. For those of you who haven't been paying attention to Tesla over the last year to date, or I would say 6 months, Tesla's been on an absolute tear, up 64% in the last 6 months and 139% since the start of 2023. Now, I'm not saying it's gonna double again by the end of the year, but I easily could see a $300 share price for Tesla by the end of this year as they continue to move into FSD. And now they've opened up their supercharging network to GM or third-party hardware manufacturers like SharePlug and EVgo are now putting the Tesla North American standard in their charging. You'll see Tesla continue to appreciate in share price as these things continue to take over. One other thing that I do want to mention that's somewhat of a corner case when it comes to Tesla, now that Elon Musk has moved out of the CEO role for Twitter, people are starting to see that he's taking more of an interest in Tesla as well as SpaceX, his rocket company, and I think that bodes well for the stock. So, to recap on Tesla, they are a leader in the EV space, although that's not why I'm focused on them. The AI potential they have from their bots, their FSD, all the miles they have, billions of miles under their belt for full self-driving, makes it a big winner there. Their revenue growth has been good. And again, autopilot powered by AI. They continue to sell, so every single quarter, their sales go up and to the right. Since they were founded in 2008 and their first car in 2012, they haven't had a down quarter in terms of the number of cars that they're selling. It's always been up and to the right or somewhat flat, but they've never had a decrease in revenue. So Tesla's my number one. I do own quite a bit of Tesla. I've owned it for almost a decade now, and I don't intend to sell any of it. As a matter of fact, I do what I tell everyone else to do. I dollar cost average when I go to buy, and I ride the trends. Try not to go too hard for the turns. Okay, number two, Nvidia. I think you probably could have guessed Nvidia. Nvidia is probably the most well-known AI stock out there. Nvidia has, again, been on an absolute tear this year from a share price perspective. They have, and we'll get into the chart in just a minute, they have done extremely well for investors. Now, Nvidia, you're probably used to seeing them GPUs for gaming, for crypto. But where you don't hear them talked about as much, although you do now, is in the AI space. So artificial intelligence, generative artificial intelligence. You've heard the term large language model. That's where you can have a conversation like on ChatGPT or Bard, which I've done videos on, where you can type in a question and say, create me a portfolio of stocks, bonds, and cash. I'm 45 years old and I plan to live to be 90. Here's my risk tolerance. You type all that in a generative way, in a very communicative way, and it helps bring a solution to light without having to code or anything like that. Most GPUs out there are Nvidia. At one point, Tesla actually had Nvidia GPUs in their cars. They've since moved on and created their own silicone. But with the amount of GPUs out there, the gaming industry, the crypto industry, here's Nvidia's website, some of the solutions they talk about. I just talked about generative AI. They do large language modeling, LLM training in the cloud. You can do that on-prem or you can do that in cloud. Obviously, data analytics, inference, being able to infer, whether it's 3D rendering, 4D rendering, maps, and data analysis, speech AI, whether we're using AI to run down subtitles or create new voices from AI and put that into a video like this. And then cybersecurity, so being able to address things that are about to happen or will be happening instead of in the past. That's a big AI play there. As I move over here and to the right, you'll see they do have very high profit margins and their earnings per share are great. I will say, I think their valuation is a little stretched today. If I look at Nvidia over here, Nvidia has done well year to date, 186%. So they are up even more than Tesla was, but their price to earnings at 213 is a little cautious. I'd still put them on the list. I'm a little cautious, but ultimately I'm a big buyer, and over the last 5 years, it's just, absolute tear. Year to date's been incredible. And then if you go back here on May 25th, they made a big announcement. They beat earnings, and they also made a big announcement. So you saw a big jump in the price. But over the last 5 years, especially as crypto's done extremely well, you've seen the price appreciate. And now with AI being at the forefront, you'll continue to see Nvidia talked about over and over again. So don't sleep on this one. It's a big one. Between Tesla and Nvidia, you can't go wrong. Okay, number 3, Microsoft. So Microsoft is not one you may think of. Microsoft, Windows, Outlook, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. But Microsoft is one of, if not the biggest tech giant that has a footprint across the enterprise space. So there's no company out there enterprise-wide that I've seen that doesn't have some kind of Microsoft product. Now, again, that could be Outlook, that could be Teams, that could be Dynamics, that could be SharePoint, but Microsoft has embedded itself with AI solutions, whether it's their new Windows Copilot, which helps developers when they're going to code and they're typing in their coding and they don't know what to put next. They can ask the generative AI inside of Microsoft what to go through next, what to code next. It can actually do a code check and go through and show a developer what they're doing wrong and how to improve it, which is, instead of going to Substack or something like that, you're able to actually see in real time what the AI is doing, how to correct it. They are, like I said, a little bit less known than some of the big names like Tesla or Nvidia, but Microsoft is everywhere. They have a big stronghold in the enterprise space, and I don't see that going away. I'm also a big believer in their CEO, Satya Nadella. I think he's done great. They have been able to exploit a lot of profit and a lot of margin out of their cloud business. So if I go over here to their financials, year to date, they are up 40%. So I was off just a little bit. So they're up 40% for the year. So certainly nothing to sleep on. But if you've been a holder of Microsoft for a long time, the last 5 years, you're up 233%. Again, I know, not Nvidia, not Tesla, not those types of gains, but Microsoft does actually pay a great dividend. So whether or not the stock's going up or down, you're still getting that dividend and that appreciation. All right, number 4, IBM. Again, probably not one you've thought of. Some are familiar with Watson. They used AI. I think it was about 10 years ago, they played chess. They used Watson to play chess against some of the greatest chess players in the world, and Watson won. So Watson is their AI and automation solution that allows you to ask questions to it, and it generates responses, and it also helps perform a lot of common tasks. So again, down here they talk about Watson X. That's their new, their next generation enterprise-ready AI and data platform. So, train, validate, tune, deploy ML models with ease. Looks like it's coming out in July. I'd expect some kind of share price bump. Once it's out and enabled, they've got data workloads as well. Then they've got a governance model, which comes out in October. IBM is not typically one that you think of, but it looks like here with like their Watson Assistant, you're able to bring this in for customer service, HR, help desk. So maybe help desk has a lot of general questions they do over and over again. Watson can help offload some of that. The natural language processing, the machine learning capabilities. They do a lot in healthcare and finance. I will give them that. Healthcare, IBM is everywhere. Having been in the healthcare industry, IBM is definitely everywhere. So if I go over to IBM, again, this is not one that I would continue. I would have it on my list, and I would have it in maybe create a portfolio with these 5 stocks I'm going through here. I would have it in there, but I wouldn't over rotate on it. Maybe do 10%, 15%, and then shove the rest out to the other 4 I'm going over. They do have a good dividend, the best dividend of any of the 5 I've gone through today and will go through. So if you want consistent dividend appreciation, you can do that. But over the long haul, over the last 5 years, they're actually down. I don't think IBM's going anywhere. I think they have 300,000 or 400,000 employees. No, they have 300,000, almost 300,000 employees. And annually their revenue it was going down. It looks like it's going back up now. So again, I'd have it on the list. Be careful and know what you're getting into. Okay, number 5, the last one on the list, and I'm sure you're wondering, it is Google. I use a lot of Google products. I use some Google search. I use Gmail. I have a Gmail account. I have several. I've used Google AI before. I like Google Cloud. I think it's very robust. At one time, I thought it had the greatest AI of any of the Amazons, Microsofts, and Google. Google's been in search since the beginning, and on the back end of that search, in order to run queries, They do use a lot of machine learning to do a lot of back testing and provide accurate results. And they've obviously been able to harness that into a money-making, a printing press through search. Now that ChatGPT is out, they actually created their own, which is called Bard. They do have a big presence in AI. I think like BigQuery, things like that are more appropriate for them. I think that's where they've made a big impact. Google Workspace, which I do use, and generative AI, which, what I've talked about before. Generative AI is just being able to ask those questions and get responses back that are more human-like versus getting maybe a web page or a knowledge article. Again, we talked about it's a tech giant. It's made a lot of strides, I would say, in the last 10 years. They did buy DeepMind. I think back in 2012 or 2013, that DeepMind team was by far and away ahead when it comes to artificial intelligence or generative artificial intelligence as it's known today. I don't see Google going anywhere. They have probably the most data of any company out there on you. They know where you are, what you're doing, what you're looking at probably before you do. They continue to grow. They continue to bring in great top line revenue. I'm also a big fan of their CEO, Sundar Pichai. I think he's great as well. I think he might have been a little late, either releasing or catching up to what ChatGPT's done. I've used Bard. I think it is a good product, although I think conversationally ChatGPT is still ahead of it. Now, going and overlooking at their stock, they don't pay a dividend, but if you've owned Google stock at least for the last 5 years, you've made money, 113% over the last 5 years, up 40%. So again, not your Teslas, not your Nvidias, not even your Microsofts, but I don't see Google going away anytime soon. Their PE ratio is much better than what an Nvidia or a Tesla is. It's a double-digit PE instead of a triple-digit, like Tesla, like Nvidia is. But I don't see it going away. I only see it continuing to get bigger as they release Bard and they're pushing more into generative AI. I don't think Sundar Pichai is going to be sleeping again. So there you have it. Those are the top 5 AI stocks to dominate 2023. Remember, investing comes with risks, so make sure you do your own research. Consult with a financial advisor if you need to. One last thing, if you like this content, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Let me know if you agree with these 5 stocks. Comment down below. And as always, don't forget to design your financial freedom. Take care. Bye-bye.